Rock'n'roll, fiskebås, köttkakor och fårikål, fiskesuppe, kaviar, kocken spiller på gitarr, potäterna de kokar, barnen de ropar oh yeah!
Hi, I am Devi Ward.
And I am Marta Schneider, and we welcome you to this intro to the 4 types of female ejaculate.
Yes, so female ejaculation is a hot topic in the world of sex, anything sexploration, sex education today. And there's a lot of confusion about what female ejaculation actually is. And I believe that one of the sources of this confusion, is the fact that there's actually 4 different types of female ejaculation.
Mm-hmm. And we want to give you this information so that you can remove the mystery out of what's coming out of your lower end, and feel assured that it's ejaculate and not, I don't know,
Something
infection
gross.
or exactly. Because we don't learn so much about this when we are growing up. We learn more about symptoms of infections or STDs. So we wanted to put the information about fluids that come out of us when we are functioning.
Healthy sexual functioning.
Exactly.
So just to clarify, when we say female ejaculation, we are not meaning the equivalent of male prosthetic fluid. If we are talking about the equivalent of male prosthetic fluid, then there's only one type of female ejaculation. But when we're referring to female ejaculation, we mean fluid that is emitted during high states of sexual arousal from your vagina. That's what we're talking about, or from your genital area. And there's just lots of different fluids, but there's 4 primary fluids that chances are you will encounter at some time during your sexual experience or your sexual evolution as a human being. So the 4 types of female ejaculate are: there are 2 types of urethral emission and 2 types of vaginal emission. The first type of urethral emission is what we refer to as urinary bladder discharge.
This kind of liquid is very much like water. So it is free of color and free of scent. And the emission can be experienced as peeing. And also the quantity can seem like pee, but again, it has no smell and it has no color. So researchers are not yet agreeing on what it actually is, but there have been tests of the content of this fluid, and some researchers believe that it has to do with the lymphatic system.
And just to reiterate, because it does come from the bladder, if a female has not urinated before her sexual experience, then there may be some trace amounts of urine in the fluid. But if you make sure that you pee before sex, chances are that fluid that is filling the bladder during that sexual arousal is not urine, it is actually the ejaculate. And part of the reason that this fluid fills the bladder during sexual arousal has to do with the endocrine system and the fact that all of that comes online during the sexual arousal experience, and the kidneys just start pulling water from all over the body and dumping it into the bladder. So that's one type of urethral emission. The second type of urethral emission is actually prosthetic fluid. And this comes out as a thicker, more viscous, milky-ish kind of fluid. It's similar to semen, like watery semen, not like thick, clunky semen, but watery semen.
And you might wonder, prosthetic fluid from a woman. Maybe you haven't heard this, but women also have a prostate gland, and in our body it's referred to as the G-spot. So this is a gland that circumvents, or that is kind of on the urethra, and when it's engorged, it's a type of erectile tissue, and when it engorges and gets stimulated, it can produce this fluid, and it's also, like David said, emitted through the urethra.
And tests done on this fluid validates the fact that it is prosthetic fluid. It has prostate-specific antigens. Now, this fluid is not going to squirt across the room I mean, I guess it's possible, but it's only about like 1 to 2 teaspoons of fluid, so it's not this copious amounts of gushing that's happening from your orifices. It usually just kind of like drips or seeps out, and it just depends on the woman and her anatomy. But don't expect big arcs of spray from this actual prosthetic fluid.
Yeah.
Yes. The other 2 types of female ejaculate are from the vagina, and the first type is what we call gushing.
Mm-hmm. Gushing is in terms of the type of fluid it is. It's very similar to squirting, which is the first type we mentioned. So water suddenly gushing literally from your vagina, and researchers don't know exactly where it's emitted from, but it's often experienced during penetration, whether you're using a toy, fingers, or there is a lingam or penis inside your vagina penetrating you. You might have this sudden sensation that it's like your vagina is a little river or a stream, that there's just this sensation of wetness that suddenly increases. And some women say that it's actually their partner, if they have a male partner, who points out that, oh, you're suddenly so much more wet. Mm-hmm. And so that's an example of gushing.
Mm-hmm. And then the final type of female ejaculate, again, comes from the vagina. And this is a thick, white, viscous cream, actually. And in the ancient Taoist culture, they considered this to be cream essence of woman. This was like the most distilled, refined essence of woman. And it was like, you was the man if you could make a woman's vagina cream. That was like the height of success. And so, oftentimes women will mistake this as discharge, and some women are very embarrassed by this, but it's actually cum. Mm-hmm. It's cream. It's creamy cum. And if you have something penetrating the vagina, sliding in and out, it's going to get all smeared all over. But I was blessed enough to witness a deliberate orgasm demonstration, and which is just a clitoral stroking, and so there was no vaginal penetration, and this big shiny like teardrop, but like a giant teardrop, came like bubbling out of this woman's yoni, and it was beautiful. It looked like a fat pearl coming out of her vagina. And that is what we are referring to in that 4th type of female ejaculate. It's cream. It's creamy cum. So so we just wanted to share this information with you, not so that you could strive to achieve all these 4 types, but just so you would know, like, oh wow, if my body has much cream, yay, I just came all over the place. Or if you've got this gushing fluid, and also to just demystify the topic of female ejaculation, because our female bodies produce all kinds of amazing substances, and and they're yummy.
Mm-hmm. And so if you are experiencing any of these fluid emissions from your vagina or yoni, we recommend that you prep your space when you're going to have self-pleasure or have sex with a partner, that you have a squirt blanket. Those actually exist if you didn't know it from before, or that you have towels so that you don't have to worry about wetting the bed or anything like that.
Because sex should just be messy.
Yes.
And no one wants to sleep in the wet spot.